Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Rebecca and today we're going to be talking about how I lost 12 kilos on a budget, going from 67 kilos to 55 kilos. Now, I did this diet about 7 years ago and I have put the weight back on gradually over the 7 years, but honestly, it's such a good diet to lose weight. There are 4 main steps which I use to do my diet and I'm just going to go through them now. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first step to lose weight is to eat very specific foods which are not time consuming, convenient and cheap to make. So the first meal I would have would be brown bread, eggs and beans. So that would be kind of a breakfast meal. And then for lunch, I'd either have jacket potato and beans, or I would have a tuna Subway or a tuna sandwich from Tesco or Asda or whichever. I think it had mayo in it as well. And then for dinner, I would either have, again, a tuna Subway without any cheese or anything like that, or chicken, asparagus and brown rice. And then for snacks, I'd have kind of a tiny little bit of dark chocolate and milk. But obviously you can edit the diet a little bit to what you like. That's just what I ate. And to be honest, it did give me energy. Like, it had quite a lot of carbs in it. So I would and because it was not time consuming to make, that's one thing I'd say was a real advantage of this diet. With a lot of diet, like the keto diets, like you're cooking 1 to 2 hours a day. You're spending 100 quid on your groceries a week to follow this diet. Whereas with mine, you know, the prices are cheap. The food is relatively easy to make. You can get it on convenience, like it includes Subway, it includes sandwiches from the supermarket, this sort of thing. So it is quite easy to follow. And I feel like because I have included stuff that you can get on convenience in this diet, it makes it a lot more kind of applicable to at least my daily life where I'm out a lot and things like this than things like the keto diet or the Atkins diet where you literally have to be at home making the food every meal you have to make. Like, it's not easy to follow when you live a busy life. Then the second thing I did was calorie count. So I had about 1,200 calories a day, and how I worked out how much I had for each meal was I used an app called MyFitnessPal, and that kind of divided each food up into the calories, but it also divided up into the protein and carbs and fat. So I'd say on the app how much carbs you meant to have and how much protein you meant to have, and I'd kind of eat as much food to meet each criteria. So one thing you have with keto is you eat very low carbs, whereas on my diet it's kind of a lot based on MyFitnessPal. So I would make sure that I'd reach kind of, you know, a certain number of carbs a day, a certain number of protein a day. I wouldn't be kind of depriving myself of carbs, which I do think gives you more energy. I did notice I tried to do the keto diet a few days ago and literally I was so faint. I don't know if that links into the fact that I'm slightly deficient in vitamin D, but I was so faint I just could not do it. Whereas I felt like with this diet, I did sometimes get faint, because I get faint anyway, but it wasn't to the extent as what I did on the keto diet. I had a lot more energy. But one thing I did notice on the diet I did when I was 18, the diet that I'm describing, is that my period stopped. So if you are trying to conceive or anything like that, I would not recommend dieting at all, to be honest, but not this diet, like the 1,200 calorie diet that I did, because it did stop my periods. Then the third thing I did to lose the weight was I exercised a lot. So I did probably like 5 to 6 workouts a week, and I'd be burning like 500 calories per workout. I don't think personally that you need to do that much exercise and as much, because I was just doing cardio. So I was doing the cross trainer and I was doing running, like just that, and then a bit of like, you know, like leg weights and stuff. But, you know, I would really recommend doing some form of exercise while you're dieting. It'll just help your metabolism, it'll help you burn calories and this sort of thing. But a big part of my diet was sort of that exercise, and I think I lost 12 kilos, but it took me 6 months. So if you imagine, I was exercising 5 to 6 times a week, that much, and I was also eating very low calories. So that's kind of how I managed to get the weight off. So I would recommend, alongside your low calorie diet, I would also recommend exercise. And this kind of leads into my fourth point, which is basically, to do this diet, you need to be very disciplined. You cannot be thinking, oh, I'll just have a bit of cake, or I don't want to go to the gym today, I don't want to do exercise. Like, to be honest, you don't need to do as much exercise as I did, and you probably still will lose weight on less exercise. But this diet requires a lot of discipline. You know, you're eating a lot of repetitive foods, this sort of thing. So the key to this diet is the discipline. And if you feel like you can't be disciplined in this sort of thing, you know, maybe go for something like the keto diet, where you can have more flavors, more different types of food, where you're still restricting yourself, but you know, there's a bit more choice in terms of the food. But I do think my diet is the best in terms of energy levels and this sort of thing. So yeah, be motivated to lose weight. Like, don't just think, oh, I want to lose weight but I don't want to put the work in. Like, you need to put the work in with this diet. Like, That's just the bottom line of it. It's a difficult diet. If you're not in the right mental space, like maybe you've got some issues going on, or you've got loads of work to do, or you've got exams, like it's not the time to be doing this diet. This diet is literally, you need to like dedicate a lot of yourself to this diet, and that can be hard if you're not in the right headspace, or you've got some other issues going on. Like you need to deal with those issues before you do this diet. But yeah, those are my 4 points. I do think this diet is cheap, convenient, easy to do, and easy to follow, more like. And I do hope that it has been helpful. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now, and I hope this diet idea has been helpful to you.